We have discussed about business technology platform, how to create an account in BTP to get the free trial version of Business Application Studio. And I hope everybody might have created an account in BTP and you have access to your Business Application Studio. And by the way, this is my Business Application Studio. Okay. We also understand that in the backend, so we need a SAP GUI software to be installed in your system to access our actual backend system. So we also discussed the two types of Fiori architectures. One is the central hub architecture and another one is embedded architecture. So if the SAP gateway system and the backend system, so if these two are two separate systems, then this kind of architecture is called as central hub architecture. And if the gateway components are also installed in this particular SAP backend system, then that particular architecture is called as embedded architecture. So this is what we discussed in our last class. Now moving on to today's session. So in today's class we are going to understand, we are going to first create our first SAP UI5 application and we are going to understand its structure. So this is the agenda for today's class. So let us start. To create a new project, there are two options in Business Application Studio. One is so here you can click on the file and go to new project from template. So this is one option. And another option is whenever you open the Business Application Studio, there is a welcome page which we call it as Get Started page. From the Get Started page also you can create a project. So in case you closed the Get Started page, you can still again you can go to that page by using the help. So click on this menu bar and go to help and get started. So like this you can always open this Get Started page even though you close it. So click on these three horizontal lines which is called a menu context menu and then help and get started. So from here also there is a direct option and there is a new project from template. So anything you can choose, either file, new project from template, or you can directly go with the new project from template. So click on this. Right. So now the step number one in the wizard is template selection. So this template offers you the SAP UI5 application template as well as SAP Fiori elements, SAP Fiori elements template. I told you SAP Fiori elements is a way of development using templates, right? Using the predefined floor plans, list report object page, analytical list page, work list, overview page. So these are done by using Fiori elements template. Okay, so here first we need to select SAP Fiori application as a category. So you can see two other categories. One is multi-target application. This is totally a different kind of development. You can ignore this. This will be no more in future because people will go either with a complete CAPM development or with one of these. Okay, but this will not be used. So out of these three, this is what is called SAP Fiori or SAP UI5 way of development. Okay, so this template you need to select if you want to go either with the Fiori elements or freestyle approach. So you can see the description here, SAP Fiori elements development or a freestyle approach. Freestyle approach is nothing but SAP UI5 custom development. Okay, so if you want to do either of them, so you need to select this one. And what is this SAP UI5 adaptation project? So this is to extend the delivered applications of SAP. So you can see here you can create a app variant, nothing but extension to the existing SAP Fiori elements based app, or even standard SAP apps also you can do. Okay, that is what is SAP UI5 adaptation project, we call it as. Okay, so you will understand about this later, and this one you totally forget about this. So this is this will not be there in future. Now this is what we need to select, SAP Fiori application. Now click start. Now again in SAP Fiori, this first one is for complete freestyle development, which we call it as SAP UI5 application development. And all the other are Fiori elements development. So this list report or custom page or overview page, analytical list page. So all these are freestyle, Fiori elements approach. Okay. So this is a SAP UI5 training first, not the Fiori elements training. So in case of Fiori elements training, then we will explore the remaining workplace page, overview page, all that stuff. Okay. So now you need to select this one, which is the SAP UI5 freestyle development, we call it as. Click next. So data source and service selection. In this particular step, you can select if your OData service is already there in your SAP gateway system. Generally, in your SAP UI5 projects, by the time you create a SAP UI5 project, your OData service will not be ready. OData service will not be ready by the time you create a SAP UI5 project. So generally what happens in the real time is, in the backend, the SCGWT code OData project gets created, and meanwhile in the business application studio, the SAP UI5 application also gets developed. The screen designing, the validations, front-end validations, so these things will happen meanwhile the OData service is being developed in the backend. Okay, so generally some complex projects will have a separate team, so backend team as well as the front-end team. Simple to medium applications will be developed by single developer, we call them as full stack developers. So if you take me as an example, I am a full stack developer. I do front-end as well as backend. But even including me, in some complex projects, they use me only either at the backend or at the front end, because we need to deliver the things a little faster to the clients. If a single person is working in the backend as well as in the front end, then things will not go fast. So what they do, they keep the front end team separately and back end team separately. Okay, so front end team will create a UI5 project and they create all the screens. So let's say there are some 10 screens. So all the 10 screens, meanwhile they will design it. They do the front end validations, all that stuff. So when they are doing all these stuff, they really do not require the OData project or OData service at that particular stage. Got it? So most of the projects, I can say the OData service will not be ready at the time of creating the project, so I am selecting none. Okay, but in case your OData service is ready, by the time you create a SAP UI5 project, you need to select connect to a system, and then you need to select the system to which you want to connect. So this option I will show you in future. Okay, but I am telling you 99.99% or even 100%, when you are creating a SAP UI5 project, your OData service will not be ready. So you need to select the data source, which is nothing but your source of data, that is nothing but your OData service, as none. Okay, and later on, once your OData service is ready, at that time you can add that OData service to this particular SAP UI5 project. So how to add it, that you will understand in future. Okay, so The explanation that I have given till now is why to select the data source as none. So this is what I explained. I hope you understand. Okay, so in one single line I can say by the time you create your SAP UI5 project, your OData service will not be ready in the real-time projects. So that is the reason we go with none and then click next. So in this particular wizard, a very first view will be created by default for you. And the relation between the view and controller is 1:1 relation that you already know as a part of the demo session. So it not only creates the first view, it will also create the view's controller as well. So here view name is by default given as view1, but you can change it. Whatever the name that you want to keep, you can keep it. Normally we keep some suitable name as per what it is displaying. Okay. So as of now, I am not changing the view name. I am keeping the default name as it is, view1. Okay. Then click next. So this is the last step in the project creation. So you need to fill the project attributes. The project attributes are nothing but some project details like project name. So the module name is nothing but project name, application title, some namespace. Okay, so all these things we need to fit. Now let me give the module name as B72 UI5 app. The project name must contain only small letters. Capital letters are not allowed here. Okay, for example, I type the capital P and immediately you can see module cannot contain capital letters. Okay, so only small letters are allowed. Some people call this as module name, some people call this as project name, anything is fine. Next, application title. So you can give some title for this here. So this particular application title appears as your application window title. So what is that window title? You will understand. Just a second. So I'm giving this as B72 SAP UI5 application. Application namespace. So this is com.demo. So I want to talk something about application namespace. So what is this application namespace? Generally, the syntax that you need to follow for the application namespace is com.clientName. So this is the syntax. Now, for example, you are developing some applications for Vodafone or Airtel. So you need to write like this, com.airtel. So basically, the syntax is com.clientName. Okay. Now followed by this particular namespace, your application project name will come. For example, B72 SAP UI5 app. So this you will understand in tomorrow's class. The namespace simply stop by com.clientName, and after that com.clientName, and after that this particular application name, so this will be appended by using one more dot like this. Sorry, by using like this, com.clientName.application name. So for example, I am developing 10 applications for Apple, for example. Then I will write com.apple as a namespace. Namespace is com.apple, and then the project name. Okay, so for example, this is project 1 and this is project 2. This is project 3. So the namespace clearly indicates, so this all the applications are developed for Apple. This is project 1, project 2, project 3, and all are for Apple. Okay, so basically a namespace is a unique identification of each application that you have developed for a particular client. So that is how the namespace has been designed. So by looking at the namespace, you will understand for which client it is developed and what is that application. Every namespace is a unique identification of that application. Got it? So that's what is the significance of writing the namespace. So remember, the syntax of application namespace is com.clientName. And the description of the application. So if you want to write some description, you can write. So I'm giving the same title as a description. So here you need to select the SAP UI5 version that is installed in your machine, in your server. Okay. So this particular SAP UI5 version, you can either ask your basis team. The basis team will tell you. In case your basis team, normally they will tell you, so 100%. So for example, if you want to know on your own, like what is your SAP UI5 version installed, then there is a way. And the way is, so you need to hit your SAP gateway system domain name. So our SAP gateway system domain name is s4hanaids.com 8034, and followed by you need to write /SAP/public /UI5_UI5/index.html. So if you hit this particular URL followed by the domain name of your SAP gateway system. So this is my SAP gateway system. The domain name of my SAP gateway system is s4hanaids.com. This is the port number. Now followed by this domain name, port number, if you write /SAP public bc UI5_UI5/index.html, now it gives the installed SAP UI5 version. So you can see this is the installed UI5 version 1.65. Okay. So 1.58 and 1.65, so both are available. So it shows what all the libraries that are available in 1.58 and what are available in 1.65. But you can consider the rightmost one. So this you can consider 1.65. You don't need to consider this one. Okay, so this is called minimum version, but you need to consider the maximum version 1.65. And what you need to do is, you need to select that 1.65 from this particular drop down. So this is 1.7. Okay, so 1.65 and all they comes under the lower versions actually. Anyway, so basically you need to select closer to it. So 1.7 also you can select. This is 1.65, right? So you can select 1.7 like this. Business Application Studio will keep some basic, minimum version. You can select from there. So you can start with 1.7, no problem. Okay, 1.7, 1.78, and then 1.9. All these things are there. Got it? Fine. So as of now, I'm going with the latest version. I'm not selecting 1.7. So you can see I'm selecting 1.124, which is the complete latest version of SAP UI5. Okay, right. So select it and click on finish. So now it is creating your project and installing any dependencies that are needed. Okay, just wait for a few seconds. All right. So after that, you will get a message saying that the project has been generated and will be saved for future purpose. Some message you will get. So once you get this particular message, then you can start opening the project and you can write your code. Now let us expand our project B72 UI5 app, and this is the application information section. Always remember your application should have the status green color. Okay, so if this particular status is not green color, then it will suggest what to do. So you just need to follow the instructions here. So anyway, mostly this will be in green color, so you no need to worry, right? Now expand this particular project. Now I'm going to take a screenshot of this to understand the structure of this SAP UI5 application. So let us select it. So this is the entire structure. So now in today's class, we are going to understand each and every file, folder, what is its purpose in this project. Okay, so let us start with our first outermost folder. So this particular folder, B72 UI5 app, so this is called as a module name or project folder. Okay, so let me just call this as a project folder. So that's all, nothing much about it, that's just a project folder. The next very important folder is web app folder. So we need to spend some time to understand this particular web app folder. So what is this web app stands for? The web app stands for web application folder. For a web application to develop, whatever the required files are there, so all the required files will be present under the web app folder. So that is the reason this particular web app folder is called as a root folder for all the web application resources. Okay, so let me write down the web app folder is called as the root folder for all web application resources. Resources means resource files. Application resource files. Is there any spelling mistake in this? No, right? Yeah. So web application resource files. So that is what is web app folder. So when you deploy your application as well, the web app folder and its contents gets deployed to this particular server. We know that after the development of any web application, the web application code will be deployed into the server, right? So web application server. So in our case, the SAP gateway system acts like a web application server as well. So after your development is over in the business application studio, you will deploy this this particular application from business application studio to the SAP gateway system. So how do you deploy? So you will deploy using, you will go to open application information, and from the application information, so there is an option to deploy. So you can see this is deploy, right? So this particular option will deploy the source code into this particular server, SAP gateway system, which acts like a web application server for our SAP UI5 applications. Now during the deployment, actually what happens is it will just deploy only this web app folder and its contents, guys. No other file, no other folder will come along with this particular deployment. So whatever the contents are there within the web app folder, for example, if I minimize this web app folder, you can see there are still few files outside the web app folder. For example, gitignore, package log.json, package.json, readme, UI5 local YAML, UI5.yaml. So this is not part of this one. This is a separate one. You just ignore this. So all these six files will not come along with your deployment. Then what about these files which are here? So these files have a separate purpose within the business application studio. Okay, but during the deployment you just need only this web app folder and its contents. Okay, so that is the reason the web app folder is called as the root folder, the main folder for all web application resource files. Okay, so in simple words, the web app folder is also called as resource root. It is also called as resources root, means root folder for all the web application resource files. Okay, so I'm going to write down. So in tomorrow's class I will ask you which folder is called as the root folder for all the web application resource files, and you need to answer resource root. Okay, so you will understand why I will ask this question in tomorrow's class. Right, so here I'm going to write the root folder for all web application resource files, and simply this is called as resource root folder. Okay, right. So I'm just keeping it here. All right. Now let's go inside the web app folder to understand what are the files are available, what are the folders are available. Okay. Right. The first one, let's start with this MVC. The view folder contains all the views. So views are nothing but your web pages, and we write the code for the screen designing inside these views. Okay, so the view folder contains all the views, and similarly controller folder contains all the controllers. So for example, you have 4 views. Obviously you have 4 controllers. All the 4 views exist in the view folder, and all the controllers will exist in controller folder. Okay, so let us open and see how the view looks like. So this is a view, and this is a view1.view.xml, which is the first view that has been created. You will find one more view here, which is app.view.xml. So you will understand why this extra view has been created in day after tomorrow's class. Okay, right. So let me open the view. So this is how the code of the view looks like. So this looks like HTML, but this is not actually HTML. This is XML language. Okay, and even these tags and all, you will not find any one of these tags in your open source HTML. So stop thinking like SAP UI5 is based on HTML. No, it is. You've just taken the syntax from HTML, but not SAP UI5 is purely SAP's designed API. Okay, so even XML, even JavaScript, everything is SAP created API. Okay, it's just an illusion that SAP UI5 is, if you know HTML, if you know the JavaScript, maybe it helps in syntax and all, but not in terms of learning SAP UI5. Okay, so I can bet those people who already know JavaScript, who already know HTML also, they cannot do anything in SAP UI5 without knowing the development concepts and even the API of SAP's UI5 framework. Okay, so by the way, this is how it looks. So page stands for web page, and title stands for the title of the web page. We'll come to this, so we'll understand line to line. So do not panic, do not worry about this. So actually this is not today's topic at all. Okay, so today's topic is only to understand the structure of SAP UI5 project. That's all. Okay, right? So similarly, if you open the controller, so actually view1.controller.js is the controller for the view1. You will find an extra controller. This controller belongs to this app.view.xml. So what is this one? This also you will understand later. So this is the controller. Entire code is written in the JavaScript API designed by SAP. And again, none of this particular JavaScript you will find in W3 schools or any other open source websites. Okay, so this is purely different.